Vikings versus Buccaneers. Vikings come in, like I said, they're the 7th seed. They're 6-6. The Buccaneers are the 6th seed. They're 7-5. They're coming off their bye. After starting 1-5, the Vikings have won 5 out of their last 6 games to put themselves back into playoff contention. They're 6-6. They're very much alive in the playoff hunt. And the Buccaneers started off hot. They started off 6-2, and they've lost 3 out of their last 4. They've gone 1-3 over the last 4 weeks, going into their bye week. So they're definitely trending down. Tom Brady has looked a little shaky. I'm not gonna lie. I think the change in offense has hindered how well he's played. A lot of that goes to Bruce Arians, but a lot of that goes to Tom Brady. Bruce Arians did say that Tom Brady is the one that's calling the plays. So I just see a lot of people blaming Bruce Arians, but not a lot of people blaming Tom Brady. I think it should be split. The blame should be split both ways. Tom Brady is definitely responsible for his play. He's thrown 7 interceptions over the last 4 games. Unacceptable. He has to cut down on those turnovers. But the Buccaneers are coming off their bye week. They had a late bye week. They had a bye week on week 13. So because of that, I do think that they should be ready for the Vikings. The Vikings struggled last week. They played the Jaguars, and it took them all the way to overtime to beat Mike Glennon and the Jaguars. And say what you will about Mike Glennon. He was a Buccaneer, and then they gave him a little bit of a shot to be the starting quarterback there, and it didn't work out. But he's been a journeyman quarterback, and if you're struggling to beat the Jaguars with Mike Glennon in overtime, the 1-win Jaguars, then I have a hard time believing that you're going to be able to beat the Buccaneers. Even if you've won 5 out of the last 6, the Vikings are known for the rush attack. They have Dalvin Cook, top 3 running back in the NFL. Some people have him as the best. Others have Derrick Henry. However your list goes, Dalvin Cook is elite. The whole offense revolves around Dalvin Cook and being able to do play action off of Dalvin Cook running. And the Bucs have the number 1 rush defense in the NFL, so they should be able to at least slow down Dalvin Cook, not let him gash them for long runs. So, but the Buccaneers did get burned by the Chiefs the week before they played. The week before they went to the bye week, Tyreek Hill went berserk. He had like 200 yards in the first quarter. He ended up with like almost 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. So they're going to have their hands full with Justin Jefferson and Thielen. Cook, I think they should be able to stop Cook, but then the real question is, do they have the back-end cornerbacks? Do they have the back-end secondary to slow down Thielen, to slow down Jefferson? Justin Jefferson is a monster. The way he runs his routes, the way he sets up cornerbacks is elite. For a rookie, that's ridiculous. It just goes to show how good the LSU team was last year, having Justin Jefferson, having Edwards-Helaire, having Joe Burrow. Amazing LSU team, probably super stacked team. But Justin Jefferson, Thielen hasn't had that many yards this year. His yardage has gone down, but he's scoring touchdowns at a pretty high rate. He has over 10 touchdowns. So the combination of Justin Jefferson and Thielen could give the Buccaneers some troubles. Like even versus the Chiefs didn't run on them, but they were burning them through the air like crazy. So it doesn't matter if the run defense is good when you're able to burn them through the air. So sometimes sometimes the rushing stats are skewed because the Buccaneers have won big games, have taken big leads on teams. Like I remember they took a big lead against the Panthers, they blew them out. So a lot of times your rush defense doesn't fully paint the whole picture. Like you could have the number 1 rush defense, but if your offense is always leading and the other team that you're playing is always behind, then they're going to rely on throwing the ball. So it might skew your numbers a little bit low. Regardless, the Buccaneers do have a good defense, a good rush defense. So I think they should be able to slow Dalvin Cook down at least somewhat. And they have Kirk Cousins. He has been playing good. Nothing like amazing, but he has been playing good. He's still susceptible to making some dumb throws. Last week when I was checking in on the Vikings versus the Jaguars game, there was this play where he was rolling to the left, and he's righty, so rolling to the left is kind of difficult for righty throwers. Like you have to shift your whole body. And I think he had a pretty open receiver, and he tried to shift his body to make the throw, but he's not like physically gifted like that. Like he has limitations. He's not fast. his hips aren't as fluid, like let's say Mahomes or something, to be able to just flip the hips and throw at an awkward angle. So he tried to make that throw, and his body was just not positioned the right way. His arm strength is not there. He just kind of hung it up, but thankfully, since they were rolling left, the defense was kind of behind, and the ball just fell flat. And he was left on the ground, and even the commentators are like, "Oh, those are some throws that, Kirk Cousins has to not make, because then it gives the other team a chance to score." But Kirk Cousins will do that. He had a pick six last week. Wasn't really his fault. It was off a tip ball, but Kirk Cousins is gonna put you in positions to make some plays. So he's no Patrick Mahomes. So even though the Buccaneers got burned, got gashed, even against Patrick Mahomes, after the first quarter they kind of hunkered down, and they didn't get burned that bad the rest of the 3 quarters. So I do think the Buccaneers have what it takes to at least slow down Cousins. The problem should be if Brady could just keep that offense afloat. I think they need to establish the run, not go for so many deep shots, do the short passing game, 2 tight ends, small short routes that Brady's comfortable with. But he's had a pretty good season, 3,300 yards, 28 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. The interceptions he needs to cut down. But on the other side, Cousins has 3,073 yards, 26 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. So both quarterbacks are towards the top of the interceptions they've thrown. So we might see a lot of interceptions this game. I think Brady will cut it down just because he is coming off the bye week. He had 2 weeks to prepare. He probably studied a lot of tape. Brady is smart. He's still a genius. He's cerebral on the field. So I think that bye week is really going to help. Cousins, I saw him struggle a little bit or had some shaky play against the Jaguars. They did come back and win. So, I mean, they got the win. They're 6-6. They do have the last playoff spot, but I just have more faith in the Patriot-led Buccaneers. The Vikings have the 26th ranked pass defense, and they have the 19th ranked rush defense. So they've been up and down the whole season, but they're middle of the pack, if not lower middle of the pack. So I think Brady and their offense is just going to make more plays than the Vikings offense, especially because the Vikings offense relies against, again, like I said, on Dalvin Cook. Brady, they have so many weapons. They have Evans, Godwin, Antonio Brown, Gronkowski, Fournette. So they have a lot of weapons. I think the Buccaneers come out, establish the run, and play a game that Brady's more familiar with in his time with the Patriots. I have the Buccaneers winning 28-21. It's a 1-possession game. Brady gets the win, and they keep moving along in their quest to. They're not going to win the division, but they should be a wild card spot. And as far as the Vikings, I don't know. The Cardinals play the Giants, and the Giants have been playing good. So even if they lose, they still might hold on to that last playoff spot. We'll see how it plays out, but they should still have a chance going into the last 3 weeks after these weeks, because the Cardinals by no means are world beaters right now. They're slipping too. So Vikings, if you lose to the Buccaneers, it's not the end of the world. But I do have you guys losing. I do having you guys losing your second game in the last 7. But it doesn't take away from the fact that you guys flipped your season around. I didn't see it coming, but you guys definitely did. You guys took care of the easier part of your schedule, and shout out to the Vikings for doing that. But once again, my prediction, Buccaneers 28, Vikings 21.